What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and one of my favorite product categories is the world of portable projectors. There's been a ton of great options that have come out in the market over the past few years, and one of the companies really leading that charge is Nebula, because we actually had the chance to check out their 4K laser projector earlier this year, and it really impressed me in terms of the image quality that it was able to produce at a relatively portable size. So today, we're actually gonna be checking out the smaller model, which is the Nebula Capsule 3 laser, as well as the Nebula Cosmos Laser 4K, and talking about some of the different features that you get at the different form factors, and at the end of the day, comparing them and figuring out which features are specific to each one and which one is right for you. I'm gonna be giving away one of these projectors, so just go ahead and subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and leave a comment down below as to which one you prefer, and I'll be picking a winner in the comment section in 1 month, so make sure you leave your Instagram username as well so I can contact you directly, and a huge thanks to Nebula for sponsoring this video. So if you guys don't know, Nebula is by Anker, which has quickly become one of the most trusted consumer tech accessory companies that has spanned out to many different categories beyond battery packs, but also into audio and speakers, their sound core, as well as home products such as their vacuum division, and also some of their projectors on the market. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the Nebula Capsule 3 laser. And the first thing you're really going to notice is that this is literally the size of a Bluetooth speaker. It is super portable, and it's really allowing you to bring the movies on the go because there is a battery that is built in, as well as Android TV OS 11, and you have all of your controls and everything built into the actual capsule itself. And as a whole, it is just one that you can literally throw into your backpack or have in your bedroom, and it's able to produce up to a 120-inch image at a 1080p resolution. So when you take a look at the hardware, it weighs in at just 900 grams, and it's just about 30% larger than the previous generation Capsule 2 laser. From a hardware standpoint, it is also very durable because it is all made out of metal, and you can see that the area for it to breathe is actually cut out in the perforations, and it's also how the projector is able to support the sound, and it does have Dolby optimization built in. On the back here, when it comes to inputs, you're gonna find a USB Type-C as well as an HDMI, which is like the standard input, as well as an auxiliary, because you can actually use this as a Bluetooth speaker itself when you're not projecting movies, and that is also a really handy feature. What I also love about it is that there is Chromecast built in, so if you wanna just stream something directly from your smartphone as it's tethering on data, for example, if you're on the go, then it just makes it a lot easier than having to connect an HDMI input. But if you also wanna just plug in your computer and have that direct experience, and then you can definitely do that. So on the image quality side of things, this smaller projector, as I mentioned, is able to produce a 120-inch image at a 1080p full HD resolution. It features a laser technology, which is a little bit different from LED because it is more power efficient, but it also provides a brighter image per wattage, making it a more efficient method of projecting that image. It also gives you a better color reproduction as well, and as you can see from how this is able to project, I would say that this projector is definitely one that you want to use more so in the evening, because the amount of power that it's able to give you on a relatively portable form factor can be limiting compared to like a larger projector such as the Cosmos line. In a dark scenario, what I really noticed from the laser projector, and specifically from the Nebula lineup, is that the color reproduction is very accurate. Not only is the image very contrasted, but the colors that need to definitely stick out without being overpowering, and I also found that the white balance is relatively accurate, and that is always something that I look for in projectors because I've tested ones that were really bad at that, and also some models that were a little bit better, and I always find that, especially as someone in video, I can notice, especially when playing back my own videos, whether or not the color reproduction of the projector is actually accurate, or it's simulated in a way where it just tries too hard to boost that saturation. The lens element is also nicely housed and protected with one piece of glass, which is great because I found that other projectors actually leave the dome exposed, and a lot of times that can catch a lot of dust, and when you go to clean it, it ends up clumping around the sides. When it comes to the setup itself, this is another area of strength when it comes to the Nebula lineup. There is actually a camera that is built in down here that assists in the automatic keystone and also alignment process. So when you go ahead and turn it on and use it, you can trust that it's able to align itself relatively well. You definitely can assist it at certain times in tougher scenarios, but if you have a projector screen or an area on the wall, I found that more often than not, as soon as I turned it on, it was able to align and focus right away. The actual inputs itself are also very simple. You have power as well as your input switching, and on the top, you have the control for the different navigation menus of like the back, the play pause, and I love that it has like a bit of a touch capacitive element that is built right in. This is what the remote looks like as well, which is relatively standard. It has your navigational aspects. You also have your calibration button, the Google Assistant, and also return to home and the settings. When it comes to streaming options though, Android TV 11.0 is built in, which gives you access to over 700,000 movies and TV shows, as well as 7,000 apps. The battery life that is built in is also about 2.5 hours, which I would say is pretty respectable for something that weighs in at just 900 grams, because if you want to watch like a movie, a TV show, or like a sports game, for example, you should be able to get just enough battery power without having to plug it in. And if you need to go ahead and have a power source, you can actually connect it straight to like a backup battery pack, such as an Anker one that is 10,000 milliamp hours, for example, and power it for quite a few hours longer. Because the battery built into here is 14,000 milliamp in total, and I love how it uses a universal power source like USB Type-C. It also features an 8-watt DD+ speaker with Dolby Audio, and I would say that the sound quality is pretty decent for its size. It is one that you can definitely use as a Bluetooth speaker, but obviously it isn't like the loudest speaker that is going to fill many rooms out there. But I think if you're just enjoying like a movie on like a 120-inch display and have a few people sitting between like 10 to 12 feet away from it, you should have a pretty good and enjoyable experience just off of the speaker that is built into the small unit. So as you can probably tell, I would say that the demographic that this product is for specifically is people who just want to have a nice projector in their bedroom, for example, or you want to bring it camping, or in a certain scenario where you don't exactly have a power source, but are able to stream content directly to this projector while not having to worry about plugging it into a wall at all times. And the image quality at 1080p at about 120 inches is pretty respectable. But let's go ahead and talk about the Nebula Cosmos Laser 4K projector, which is kind of like the flagship in the lineup and delivers the best image quality possible in a portable setting that still allows you to bring it around, but it's definitely like significantly larger than something like the Capsule. So this right here is a Nebula Cosmos Laser 4K projector, and they actually have it in a 1080p model as well, but this flagship 4K model is one that I've had since it came out, and it has really impressed me from the start. The fact that it is a laser projector at the price point that it comes in at under $2,000 is relatively competitive compared to other laser TVs, for example, out there at the moment, and in a lot of cases actually produces better image quality than a lot of the laser TVs that I've checked out in the past. So when it comes to the hardware and form factor, I would say that this is more of like a hybrid projector. It doesn't have a battery built in, so you have to have a power source to be able to use it, but it has a nice handle that is put on the top here, and say you have like a battery generator, or you're bringing it to a place, or you can plug it into the wall, then it's a very, very solid option that delivers excellent image quality at a higher resolution and up to 150 inches in size. The hardware itself is very nicely laid out in terms of the cutouts on the side that allow it to breathe, but at the same time deliver great sound quality, which is another thing that I really noticed. Because a lot of times with portable projectors, what I find is that the fan is extremely loud just to be able to keep it cool enough to operate. But when you take a look at it, you can see that it's just very well thought out and put together. And you have a touchpad on the top rear, which allows you to control the different settings, navigate the menus in some situations where you're closer to the projector, or maybe you can't find the remote, which happens way more often than it should. The input is HDMI, and what you're gonna notice on the front here is that the lens element is once again nicely protected. It's just one singular piece of glass here for the laser to be able to project through, but there's also cameras and sensors built in all throughout the front that ensure a great keystone alignment as well as continuous focus. So as soon as you turn it on and set it up, I noticed that it was able to align and straighten out right away, and I was really impressed by how quickly it was able to do so and how accurately. This particular model features the IEA tech, which stands for an Intelligent Environment Adaptation, and it analyzes the room and displays a screen with no obstructions. On the image quality side of things, similar to the Nebula Capsule 3 laser, it was extremely accurate. I found that on my camera, I typically have to adjust the tint to be able to reach a proper white balance when I'm filming these reviews, and in some cases, I've had to go to -50 on my camera when the regular is about -6 to -7. And when I have this projector laid out with a white image on screen, it was relatively close to that point to reach a perfect white, which shows good color accuracy based on the histograms that I'm seeing on my camera. The saturation and color representation was really nice. The contrast was definitely there. And these are just some of the benefits of the laser powered brightness, which gives you 2400 ISO lumens at any time of day. So it shows that this model in particular is actually really good if you want to have a projector that is able to project a pretty solid image during daytime. The RGB laser also produces a more narrow range of wavelengths that are actually more efficient than other light sources because they can be adjusted to reproduce a wider range of color than lamps or LEDs. When it comes to the audio side of things, it features Dolby Digital Plus optimization, and it features 2 main 10-watt drivers as well as 2 5-watt tweeters. The way these speaker elements are segmented also give you much more dimension to the sound, and I've got to say the audio quality is definitely one of the traits of this projector, and for a portable model, it really does deliver a pretty powerful experience, especially when reaching that maximum projection of 150 inches where you might have quite a few people over to enjoy a movie, a TV show, or maybe a sporting event. So when it comes to deciding which projector to buy, this is how I would break it down. The first thing, which is kind of the most obvious one, is that this comes in at 900 grams and this comes in at over 10 pounds. Even though that isn't considered exactly heavy for a really solid projector that you can just put in your car, for example, it definitely isn't something that you're gonna be able to put in your backpack. And the other thing to consider right off the bat is whether or not you're going to be near a power source. This has a 14,500 milliamp hour battery, and it's able to give you 2.5 hours of standalone usage, but you can also connect it via USB Type-C to like a backup battery to extend that usage. So if you're going camping or off the grid, for example, then this is a pretty obvious option. On the other hand, if you have like a work presentation or you're able to bring your whole tech setup with you or plug it in somewhere and you want the best image quality possible while being able to project up to 150 inches compared to 120 inches, then the Cosmos Laser 4K is easily one of the most impressive projectors that I've tested out under $2,000 and at this form factor. It's one that you can leave semi-permanently in your living room or in the movie room of your house without having to feel like it is always gonna have to be there, but at the same time delivers a more permanent level of quality that you expect out of projectors that are usually screwed into your ceiling and even come in at higher price points. The laser technology really does stand out when it comes to color representation, the white balance and contrast, as well as when it comes to the brightness that it is able to produce in a given scenario, which is more efficient than LED. I find that this projector right here is able to look really good in darker situations, but it only has 300 ISO lumens compared to 2400 ISO lumens on the larger model. So I think the answer is pretty clear. I feel like a lot of people out there are gonna really know which model is best for them just based on the use case of these projectors, even though they do both come into the category of portable projectors. So as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.